Hey guys, Dave here. Just want to let you guys know that the Battle of Zama Kickstarter has 15 days left. All proceeds from this Kickstarter will be used to fund the Centurion's Review website and YouTube channel. Hey guys, Dave and Len here. Welcome to Wargame Chat. I think this is episode number 51, if I recall correctly. But we went to Wars in Woodstock last weekend. It's a miniature wargame convention that takes place in Illinois. Is this the first time or the second time they did it? Because
I could have sworn it was the second time.
Yeah, I thought it was the second.
Because last year I couldn't make it.
I was at the one last year too. I just couldn't remember if they had called it Wars in Woodstock or not. It's a small convention. It's about 40 people. And it looks like they have about a dozen games that go on. Each of the games takes anywhere from 3 players to about 8 players. So there's more than enough games for everyone. You won't have any session there where you have nothing to play. There's always something to play. But the games I played were good. First one was some kind of Hex Ancients game. From what I understand, it was, I don't know if it was one of Richard Borg's original rules that was never published or something. But we played that. That was all right. Kind of played like a Battle Cry or a Memoir 44 game. My main complaint with it was the skirmishers seemed too powerful, because it felt like if you had like an army that was just all skirmishers, you'd probably destroy like any other army on the board. We were playing Carthage versus Rome. Carthage won, but I don't feel... I was playing Carthage, but I don't feel too proud of my victory. I think the other side mostly lost due to the non-historical accuracy of the game. Because the tactics they used were sound for an Ancients game. It just didn't work for that game because it's more of a Ameritrash game than an actual war game. So I think any other game using the tactics they used, the Romans would have won. But overall, it was all right. I mean, it was fun. You just can't take it too seriously since there's no historical accuracy in it. And then the second game I played was Team Yankee. It was Czechoslovakians versus the Americans. The Czechoslovakians won. They had the Americans so outnumbered. I mean, there's just like waves of Czechoslovakian tanks coming. I mean, I was on the American side. We destroyed plenty of Czechoslovakian tanks and armored personnel carriers, and we had air power and stuff too. But yeah, we were just overwhelmed. That game reminds me, it's made by the same makers of Flames of War, and it's a little too close to Flames of War in my opinion. The artillery seemed too powerful. In a real, like, mechanized unit game, you're going to have things like where you can have the turret hatch open and the turret commander has his head out of the turret and stuff, and if you fire a machine gun at the tank, then he's got to button up and stuff. There's none of that here. It's too abstracted. That's the problem with it. I mean, it's fun to play, but it's another game you can't take seriously because it's way too abstracted. What'd you play there besides a cowboy game, right?
Yeah, it was a 1860 Mexicans versus the French. In the morning, I played I commanded some French Foreign Legion, and we fought it out with the Mexicans. This is using the Fistful of Lead.
My dad's got those rules in the basement.
Game rules, and I lost only 2 of my 6 guys, but I was very careful. The other guys, well, at one point we looked at it and we figured all the French have to do is lose 1 more guy, and they can't. Even at that point, Voddy Murphy shows up and blows up the rest of the Mexicans. They will still have won. So it was like, yeah, let's go for lunch. And after lunch, well, I didn't want to go into Dave's game, because to me, any type of modern armored combat is very complex. So
that one's actually not complex at all. You would have learned the rules real quick.
I really signed up for a medieval jousting tournament, but for some reason that was rescheduled for the evening. Mm-hmm. So I went back to this one. This time I played the Mexican side, and
did the Mexicans win then?
No, this time it was I commanded the last Mexican standing.
Oh, okay.
And They had two French ones. This one was a little tighter, a little closer than the other one. I'm not sure why. I think it was like we had more experienced people this time around. Like I knew how to play this because I played this before. In fact, when I got home, I found the sad news that Larry Storch had passed away. And the reason why I bring this up is that the previous time we played Fistful of Lead was at Little Wars. And the scenario was F Troop versus the Indians. And there's not the goofy F Troop that we know from television. And Corporal Agar had like a +1 for fire and a +1 for hand-to-hand combat. And I think there was some other ability too. And he knocked off 3 Indians. In fact, we started calling him the Indian Killer. And but then the way the numbers kind of fell, because I remember after he plugged one, he was charged by an Indian. He killed him immediately, and the other guys go, "Oh crap!" This is yeah. So a turn later, he's charged by 3 of them, and first one wound and another wound, and he's gone. So a moment of silence for Corporal Agar. So. Yeah.
Cool. So, what was the name of this place? Was it Ethereal Chocolates or something?
Ethereal Confection. It's a chocolate store. If you want to buy a box of chocolates for your girlfriend.
Yeah, for $12 for a Hershey bar size thing.
Yeah. There was a lot of very expensive candy there. So. And my sister is still baffled about how we played this. And I told her there was a room upstairs that
like kind of like a meeting room.
Yeah, a meeting room, a banquet room, for a small birthday party or something like that.
Because it did have a bar up there. It wasn't open when we were there, but
we're not going to drink.
Right, but.
Yeah, so it's like actually, I thought it was amazing is there was a game store down the block.
Yeah.
I'm surprised we didn't play there.
I forget what it was called. I went in there. They carried, it wasn't a bad game store. Carried like popular stuff like D&D and Euros and like Warhammer and stuff. So just the popular stuff. If you're looking for like kind of the uncommon stuff, you're not going to find it there. But. Yeah. And then, I think it had, Magic the Gathering and stuff, too.
And a lot of guys were excited. There's also a train store close by, too.
I went in there just to check it out. I don't see how the guy stays in business. I mean, he didn't have anything expensive for sale. I mean, most of, the train cars he had on the wall were, for $12 and stuff. And it's like, man, you got to sell a hell of a lot of train cars per day at $12 in order to stay in business, being with rent, and you got to pay the guy to be there and stuff. So maybe there's something expensive in the back I didn't see, but I just don't see how they could stay in business.
Well, actually, a lot of the miniatures are excited because a lot of train stores you could buy material to build.
That's why I went in there. I was looking for flocking and stuff. I didn't really see any, unfortunately, though.
Yeah, I was about to say, they need building material and glue and paint and other fun stuff like that. So that's like I said, that was an unusual place to have a war game convention.
Yeah, it worked out well though. I mean, it was the perfect size for what we had. My only complaint is it needs soundproofing on the ceilings because with 40 people gaming at once, you're screaming to talk to the person next to you. And at the end of the day, I had almost lost my voice just from talking during the convention. I had to talk so loud.
Yeah, we noticed that it was very loud in there. That was unusual.
Yeah, that's because there's no ceiling tiles.
Yeah. So,
all right. So you also wanted to talk about war game conventions that are in unusual places. It looks like you got a list there.
Now we have the confectionery store.
Yeah.
Well, game stores are fun places to have them.
Yeah, they are.
Okay. I was noticing a tennis court, the Little Wars.
I remember that.
Lincolnshire. It was in the tennis courts of the hotel. And what got us was that you had a choice. You could keep the door closed and turn on the air conditioning, but we could hardly hear anybody. I mean, there's one scenario I played where actually I'm writing notes. And because the thing was loud, or else they could turn it off and open the door, but after a while it gets very hot.
Were you there that one time? I won't mention the guy's name. Who was there? That stinky guy. And I walked in. Above the tennis courts, they got the second floor there where you would register. I walked in there to register, and I smelled this awful odor, and I was like, "Oh my God, that person is here." I'm not going to say his name. And so I paid for my ticket, and I went downstairs, and sure enough, he was there putting on a cowboy game and stuff, and the stench was just horrific. You could smell the guy hundreds of feet away. I've never seen anything like this in my entire life. I know he's gone into, like, game stores stinking like that. I'm surprised he didn't I would have thrown his ass out, personally.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm surprised that no one complained,
Well, he was a very important wargamer. He had written rule sets that were published and stuff, and from what I understand, he did put on good games if you could stand the stench, but...
Okay. There were high school gyms. We had a few of those.
Yeah.
Because I remember...
Remember LutherCon at Luther North High School? They had two of those. That was a good convention.
Well, that was special for me because I lived close by. I mean, it was a wargame convention I walked to.
Yeah. Well, Ethereal Chocolates, where we were just at with Warren Woodstock, that's only a half hour from my house. I live in the middle of nowhere, so a convention within a half hour of me is like a really big deal.
Yeah. I, on the other hand, had to drive an hour and a half, and that was a rough road. I'm not used to driving that long. It was sad because actually they were telling me that for them it was a failure because not as many people showed up for some reason. I don't know why.
Mm.
Yeah. Church basement. WolfCon started off in churches.
I liked it the best when it was at the church, but unfortunately the new priest or whatever didn't want them to continue having the convention there.
Probably didn't understand. All I remember is that you felt better playing the Cthulhu role-playing game in the church basement.
Or you got RockCon, which is in the Masonic Hall. It's actually not a bad place to have a convention, but the last time I was there, they painted the ceilings black. I don't know why. And the light reflects off white paint. It doesn't reflect off black paint.
Yeah,
black paint absorbs it, so it was like really dark in there. I had a booth that time, and I could barely see my own merchandise. I was like, man, they need to repaint this place.
Well, I was making a joke that they did it because, when we're not around, they have human sacrifices or something. Actually, I think it was, what's Shriners, the one with the red
they're a type of Mason as far as I know.
Or, I told them it just seemed weird to go into, like, the halls and you see this line of, like, famous, past members and all these guys with the goofy red hats. You're wondering what you're getting into. Another one, this was one of the NavCons. It was in a country club. Now, it wasn't too bad. I think our only real gripe was it was like we had two rooms and there was like a wall between them. Mm-hmm. So it was like split. But what was real cute is that in the evening they had a wedding party. And some of the women from the wedding party came down to use their bathroom, and they kind of looked at us like, they're seeing all these old adult men crunched over a table, moving little metal ships around, and things like rolling dice, and they were asking questions like, what is going on here? Because they were a little tipsy, so I'm not sure if they even understood.
You remember when Skip used to have that convention at the VFW Hall? That was actually, it was a small convention, but that one was always fun.
I said VFW halls or American Legion halls.
Yeah, maybe it was American Legion, yeah.
Those are nice because they have the ambience. You have pictures like the one we had in Wisconsin for NavCon. All these like heroes of World War II from Wisconsin, and and it just looked all neat. Plus, also, if you need a break, you can just go next door and get a beer.
Mm-hmm. I remember one time at that American Legion or VFW or whatever. I think it was, I can't remember the name of the convention, but anyhow, there was a Starship Troopers game. That one was just completely awesome and stuff. And it even had like one mobile infantryman who had been, like, I guess you would call it, taken over by the aliens. Some worm or something went in his brain and had control of him and stuff. That was really cool. That was back when Mongoose had that Starship Troopers game.
Okay, one thing was a rec room in an apartment building. At first, Aircon was in one. In fact, when I showed up, I thought, is this the right place?
Well, Aircon now's in a bar, isn't it?
Yeah, because, actually, last year was like a restaurant, a tavern type, kind of like a high-class drinking establishment. And it was kind of, they had game nights. So we were appropriate. And today we had, this year was in a game store, which was really nice too. So, but apartment building rec room. And of course there have been universities that we've gone to.
Yeah, what was it? The one, College of DuPage has had some good conventions over the years. I think the only one that's still going on there that I know of is Polar Vortex. I think Concentric or Conception or something like that, that convention used to be there. I don't even know if the Concentric Convention Company still exists. I haven't heard anything about their conventions in years.
Yeah, we've been to hotels too.
Yeah, I like the one in Lombard that they had Little Wars at, but unfortunately they don't want Little Wars there anymore for whatever reason.
So we went to another place which in some ways wasn't too bad. I think the only gripe is the food service was kind of slow, which our group, we want to eat fast. Mm-hmm. We're not there for these nice sit-down, relaxing meals. It's like, grab a burger and, okay, I'm back to the next game. So, and I think Gen Con was at the Botanic Gardens.
That was there once?
Yeah. And of course, first one I went to was at the University of Wisconsin in Racine or someplace. I forget the place. And but I missed the year that they were at the Playboy Club. Someone told me that the bunnies would come out in full bunny outfits, so just take a look around. Yep. And he says there's people who had their pictures taken with the bunnies, and so if Eric Dalt was there, he would have loved it. But anyway, what other places?
I think here, other places. That's all that I can think of, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, something like the colleges makes sense.
Where's the farthest convention you've gone to, farthest from home?
Okay, I went one in Michigan. Because I remember I got Rourke's Drift. That's the one that had as guests Dunnigan, Jim Dunnigan, David Isby, Mark Herman, John Hill, and he was putting on a seminar on squad leader. That's when that was big. And that was either in Ann Arbor or someplace, or Lansing, or someplace in Michigan. The
farthest one I went to was Kansas City. That was from Heart of America Miniature Game Society or something. It was called Border Wars. I went there. It was a really small convention. It was only like 20 people, but the games were good, though. I had a good time, even though it was real small.
Okay.
I mean, that one's about 7 hours or so from where I live, 7 or 8 hours.
Yeah. So, but that was like at 78 or 79. That's where I played was at a Source of the Nile tournament game. Came in second.
Oh, that's good. All right, got anything else?
No.
All right, that's all we got for this time, guys. We'll see you next week. Have a good evening.